Hi, I'm Brother Stephen Montez, one of the scholastics studying theology in San Antonio, at present moment assigned to the Immaculate Conception Cathedral in Brownsville, Texas for my pastoral year. And ever since we've gotten this shelter-in-place order, couples have been calling us asking to cancel or postpone their wedding because the venue for their reception has canceled all further events. And we get one phone call that was not like the others. You see, this couple was asking if they could move their wedding date up instead of canceling. See, the couple were talking amongst themselves, and they were trying to figure out what to do about this pandemic situation. Because if they waited, they could have a big party with all their friends and their family, an open bar and everything. But when they prayed together, they realized that that wasn't exactly what they wanted. That wasn't what they needed. Because when they prayed together, they found that it was the love of Jesus, their love for one another, that superseded all of these other things. And so they called asking, whenever you say, we'll be there for our wedding. Father Michael asks, could you do tomorrow? And they say, we'll be there. And I have to say, it was one of the most beautiful weddings I had ever seen. It was a very simple wedding. The bride and the groom, the parents of the bride, the parents of the groom, and the best man and maid of honor, all under 10 people. And the bride opened the doors to an empty foyer and began walking down the aisle of an empty cathedral. The groom saw, and he began to tear up. And I have to admit that I teared up too, because in the midst of everything that's going on in the world, in the midst of all this darkness that we see, this uncertainty, here was a couple who between themselves said, more than anything else, God is important to us. Jesus Christ, in the midst of our relationship, is important to us, central to our lives. They were a light in the darkness, a light in the darkness. The Easter Vigil always begins with the service of light, the blessing of the Easter fire, and the lighting of the Paschal Candle. The Paschal Candle is carried throughout the church, a dark church, one single little flame, a light in the darkness, the light of Christ in the darkness. Just like that couple was a light in the darkness, and the Paschal Candle is that sign of Christ, the light in the darkness, so too we see a bunch of lights in the darkness during this time in very different ways. We see doctors and nurses sacrificing their time and some even their lives to take care of others, being a light in the darkness of the lives of the sick people. We see neighbors helping out neighbors, family helping out family, being a little light to them who live in darkness, who are so uncertain about the next day. We see these little lights in the darkness throughout the world, throughout the cities that we live in, everywhere. And my prayer for us is that our awareness of these little lights in the darkness continue to grow, that we become aware of this little light of God's presence in people, in the actions we do for each other. So that way that, like the couple was to me, we all become a little light in the darkness for someone else.